Good morning, first graders. I'm going to take my mask off because I'm the only one in the classroom. I hope that you are going to have a great few days at home and enjoy some time with your families. I did give you some jobs to work on while you're at home, so I wanted to take a few minutes to explain to you how this works. This is our writing job for today, so each of you should have one of these papers. And I want you to write about something that you did on Halloween. So let's talk for a few minutes about how we write our stories. And we've done this in class, but it's been a few days, so I'm going to go over with you how this works. For each of these blocks here, you're going to tell about a part of your story. Now think about something that you did on Halloween. It could be going trick-or-treating, maybe you went to trunk or treat, maybe you gave out candy at your house. You could tell me a story about putting on your costume. You could tell me a story about maybe trading candy with your brother or sister once you got home. It could be anything you want, but something about Halloween. Remember, you're not going to tell me about the whole day, everything you did all day long. You're going to pick one part of your day and then tell me a story about it. So when we think about our writing, down here, we've talked before about we have to think of an idea. And it could be a thing that happened to you or a thing that you do or that you did on Halloween. Remember, you're not telling me everything you did all day long, but you're picking one thing you did and then telling me all the little parts of it. So then the next part of this is to touch and tell. And we've done this before. It helps us plan out our story. So when we think of our idea, we touch each box and say out loud what we're going to write about. It helps our brains get organized and get ready to write. So I'm going to make up a story about Halloween and putting a costume on my dog Sandy. So my dog Sandy doesn't really like Halloween too much. She barks when people come to our house, and I get a lot of trick-or-treaters at my house. So I always think it's cute. Now my kids are older, they're teenagers, so I don't have little kids to dress up anymore. So now I dress up my dog on Halloween, and she doesn't like it, but I still make her do it. So I'm going to tell a story about putting a costume on my dog Sandy. So first I think about all the things that happened when I tried to put this costume on my dog Sandy. So when I get my ideas kind of together in my head, then I touch and tell to plan it out. So I touch the first box and I think about what I did first. First, I got a dog treat out of the box, and I called Sandy over so she would think she was getting a dog treat. Then I made Sandy sit down and I got out her costume. It was a Little Red Riding Hood dress that she was going to wear. Next, I put the costume over her head and I tied the ribbon around her belly so it wouldn't fall off. Last, Sandy started running because she did not want to wear this costume, and she was running all around my house and I had to chase her. Finally, I caught Sandy and I made her take a picture in the costume, and then she ripped it off with her foot. She started scratching and ripped it off. So that was the end of my story. So now I would be ready to write because I have it planned out in my head, all those little parts of what happened. Now think about it, that was only one little thing. It was probably 5 minutes of me putting a costume on my dog, but I told you a whole story about what happened. So now I can pick up my pencil and I can go back and write down the sentences that I said. So I can write down, first, I wanted my dog Sandy to wear a costume on Halloween. First, I got out a dog treat so she would come over to me. Then I made her sit down and I got her costume out. Next, I put the costume over her head and tied it around her belly. She was Little Red Riding Hood wearing a red dress. Next, she started running away from me and I chased her all around the house. And finally, or last, I took a picture of Sandy and then she started scratching and ripped her costume off. So no costume for Sandy. So once I write those down, I have my story out. Then I'm going to go back and color a picture to show what was happening in each part of my story. Remember, when we're doing our writing, it's okay if we don't know how to spell all the words. We can sound them out. So we think about what letters do we hear at the beginning, the middle, and the ends of the words. We also need to remember that we start with capital letters and we end with some kind of ending mark, like a period or a question mark or an exclamation mark. Also, in our pictures, we want to make sure we're showing details, show colors, maybe label the people who are in the pictures. Draw something in the background so I know where your picture is happening. Don't leave it just an empty space. If your story is an outside story, draw me some things that are outside. If your story is, like my story was in my house, I would draw some things that are in my house to show it. Okay? Give your characters faces. If they're surprised, give them a surprised face. If they're sad, give them a sad face. So show details. So you don't have to do this all in one day. You can work on it today and tomorrow. You can work on it a little bit at a time. Or if you have a really great idea and you're excited, go ahead and write that down. I do want you to bring this back to school with you so that we can share our stories and go over what we wrote and what we did. Have lots of fun. Tell me a great Halloween story so I can see it when you get back in a couple days. All right, good job writing. Do your best, and I can't wait to see it next week.